Hey Wildcats, we're so excited to be with you today live here in the ACU TV studio to talk more about financial aid and paying for college. We know you've got lots of questions and we want to answer them. Also, we're super excited about this freshman class. ACU class of 2028 is going to be like no other. I am here in ACU TV studio with Hannah Davis. She is our Director of Financial Planning, and she's here to really help us walk through with you all what to plan for and expect, especially amongst a crazy year with the delay in the Fafsa coming out. But that's okay. We're going to tackle this together, right, Hannah?
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. So first, we're going to start high up, big picture, and talk about total cost. We know that that's something every family wants to know, and at ACU we try really hard to be incredibly transparent about total cost so you know how to plan and prepare as you enter into this next year. So total cost of attendance for the whole year for tuition, fees, housing, your food, textbooks, kind of the whole thing, if you got no scholarships or financial aid, would be about $59,440. But the great news is we know that so many of you have earned incredible scholarships, making the average cost of ACU much, much lower. In fact, the average cost for an ACU family this next year, for all of the entire year, room, board, tuition, fees, all the things, $32,440. But we also know that's still a big cost. That's not at all a small amount of money. It's a big investment, just like your education is. And at ACU, we really think about your investment in your education in a lot of different ways in terms of your ACU experience, what's going to happen in and out of the classroom, and it being impactful. But we also think innovatively about how to make ACU more affordable to more students. And block tuition is one of the really unique ways we do that at ACU. I don't know any other school that's doing block tuition the way we are. And that is a full year, August to August, 36 hours is included in your block. That means all the classes that you want to take online, in person, study abroad in the summer are a part of your block tuition at ACU in our annual block model. So you have all year to take those 36 hours. So you could take 12 hours one semester, 16 one semester, maybe 6 in the summer. You have a lot of ways you can maximize your time as an ACU student. And that's important to us. In fact, block tuition helps our students graduate on time, often early, or even get that double major or an extra minor while they are studying here at ACU. We're really proud of block tuition and what it means for affordability when you're thinking about this incredible investment that you're making in your education. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Hannah, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the Fafsa.
Okay, with all the Fafsa delays, we know that you have questions and concerns, and our admissions counselors and our financial aid team is here to help. So I want you to know it's not too late to apply for the Fafsa. The free application for federal student aid is open and available for all to apply. You can go to studentaid.gov and create that account, get your FSA ID, and submit that application. When you are completing your application for financial aid, you are opening yourself up for the eligibility of federal aid, state aid, and institutional aid. Even if you feel like you won't qualify for federal aid, there's still a possibility that you can qualify for institutional aid from ACU to help afford your ACU education. Make sure that when you are submitting your Fafsa, you're adding ACU as a school to receive that Fafsa so that we can process that and get that to you as soon as possible. Completing the Fafsa is such an important step in the admissions process. When you're completing that Fafsa, you're opening yourself up for federal aid, but you're also making yourself available for a federal loan as well. Make sure to visit studentaid.gov to learn more. When you're applying for the Fafsa, you are using your 2022 tax and income information. With time change comes extenuating circumstances that can change your finances, and we want to be there to help you through that process. It is called a special circumstance process, and your admissions counselor can walk you through what that means.
Thanks, Hannah. That's super helpful. I hope that you have completed the Fafsa, and like Hannah said, if you haven't, it's not too late. Submit one today. We will do our very best to get back to you as soon as possible with a comprehensive financial aid award, including any additional aid you might qualify for, or that federal direct loan. But scholarships, we know, is the number one way that students are really wanting to think about paying for college. As a mom of college students, that's the number one way I want to think about paying for my students' college, because it's aid that you don't pay back. Merit-based scholarships were given based on your application to ACU, and it took into account factors like your high school transcript, your test scores if you applied using test scores, and other information about you that just makes you awesome, and we want to celebrate that. So you should have already received your merit-based scholarship. Then there's additional scholarships that maybe you've applied for at ACU that we've notified you about. And then last but not least is outside scholarships. ACU has great scholarships. That's why the average cost is well below total cost. But students often find outside scholarships as a great way to qualify for additional ways to pay for school. So think of your local community foundation, scholarships at your parents' work, maybe even at your church. There are great scholarships available, and we want to encourage you to apply as many as possible. It's kind of like having a small part-time job that pays dividends. It's a great way to think about paying for your college education. And then there's grants as well, Hannah.
Yeah, grants are an amazing way to help pay for school, and filing the Fafsa is the #1 way to be eligible for those opportunities. So that first part that you could be eligible for is the federal grant. So there are 2 federal grants that you could make yourself available for, a federal Pell Grant and a federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant. Those are 2 opportunities that you are eligible for when you file the Fafsa, as well as state opportunities. Because we live in Texas, you are able to file a Fafsa if you are a Texas resident and potentially qualify for some state aid as well. And then, because you're filing the Fafsa, you're eligible for ACU endowed scholarship opportunities. And those are only by completing a Fafsa are you eligible and considered for those opportunities.
So I hope you're seeing that by completing the Fafsa, you allow ACU to do the very best we can to equitably distribute the financial aid we have available from incredible donors and friends of the university. That's what helps fund those endowed scholarships that are a part of qualifying for based on the Fafsa. So work study is another way that often I know we think about paying for college, especially parents. Many of us worked in college, and I know many of you students are planning to work in college, and we do offer work study at ACU. And what that means is we offer student employment on our campus, but the student is receiving a direct paycheck, and how they use those funds is up to them. It doesn't automatically count towards a student's balance, though a student can choose to help pay their balance through working in the summer or even working during the school year and making payments. That is absolutely a way to think about paying for school. But often students working on campus or working in school think about those funds as a way to pay for those extras in college, like going out on Friday night to the movies or gas for that ride home. We really encourage students working in college. I know sometimes parents that can be a little unnerving, but as a mom of a freshman in college, my son works and he waits tables and he loves it. He's making great money doing it, and he's saving money at the same time while also helping pay his way, which is an important part of the college journey. Work also equips you for that future career or job, or motivates you for that future career and job. Yeah. But let's talk about some other ways to pay for college as well.
100%. When you're looking at paying for school, loans is an amazing way to help make that happen for you. And at ACU, you can apply for additional loan options to help cover that remaining balance. So let's walk through the different types of loans that you could qualify for or apply for. So I talked briefly about that federal student direct loan that every student qualifies for by completing a Fafsa. All you do is file the Fafsa, you're eligible for a loan option. If you're looking for additional loan options, the federal government is also a great way to do that. There's a Parent Plus loan that you can go to studentaid.gov and look into and apply for, as well as great private loan options. Our website, acu.edu/loans, has amazing tools to help you find loan options that are the best option for you and your family. Loans is such a personal decision and a personal conversation that you should have with you and your family about ways that you can afford college. And so I encourage you to have those conversations earlier rather than later. Go to our website, look at all of our options, and figure out what's the best for you.
And your admissions counselor is also here to help you with that process as well if you have any questions. And don't forget, with loans, interest rates, looking at the difference interest rates out there, and also loan forgiveness. There's some great loan forgiveness programs out there for students that are going into certain industries or working for nonprofits. Those are other ways to think about financing and paying for your education, which is a lifetime investment in yourself. Payment options abound at ACU. When we think about affordability, and we want families to have that flexibility, and we often hear, when is that first check due? So we think about payments in terms of that semester that you're starting school. So we allow for up to 6-month payment plans for each semester. So you can actually start paying on your fall semester this summer when you get that first ACU bill. We have 6-month, 5-month, and 4-month payment plans. They're all interest-free, and they have a one-time setup fee, and they're done through your ACU's financial aid account at ACU. I know as a parent, as a mom, setting that up can feel frustrating as a mom because I feel like I'm the one paying, but it is your student's account and it's your student's education, and therefore they actually have to add you to their account as an authorized user. Then you can set up that payment plan, and they will do it because they want you to help pay their bill. So that is just an important thing to know. We're grateful to have those opportunities for payment plans for you. But let's talk about the actual award letter and what to expect with that.
Yes, so every student, regardless if you filed a FAFSA to ACU or you didn't, will receive a financial aid offer, and that will come by mail and by email to all students. We encourage you to take a look at that, sit down with your parents, and walk through that document together. You're going to see your total cost to go to ACU. It's going to have block tuition, it's going to have textbook fee, as well as your housing and food cost. And then you're going to see all the financial aid that you qualify for, whether that's your ACU Merit Scholarship, in addition to any financial aid that you received, as well as additional scholarships that we have generously offered as well. Once you have your total net balance for the year, then you're going to see options to help pay that off. So we're going to talk about that federal student direct loan. It's going to have information on where to go to look at payment plan options and loan options. And so every student will have the opportunity to walk through that. And you should start receiving those very soon if you have not already. So again, I just encourage you to sit down with your parent and your family to walk through that document. And if you have questions or concerns, schedule a one-on-one financial aid appointment with your admissions counselor. They are there to help walk through that with you, to talk through anything that you feel doesn't make sense or is a concern. They want to connect with you and make sure you feel all your questions are answered.
No, absolutely. Schedule those appointments. Know that we want to walk through with you all the options to cover your balance. Some of you may have additional questions that are going to start coming in. We've had great conversations in the chat bar. We'll let some more questions come in and we'll talk more about financial aid. But for the moment, we're going to queue up an exciting video just getting you ready for your first year here at ACU. And we'll be right back here in the studio to answer your questions.
City sky looming ahead makes me feel like I'm just a kid with an awestruck gaze and a fearful heart, with a story to tell but no place to start. As I make my way, exit the highway, hear the street signs start to call my name, make a super cut to look back on so I won't forget the way. It was the first year living, beginning to become the first time seeing life outside home, and that dreams gave me goals and those goals be achieved. If I put down to rest and just start to believe, it was the first year loving the face that I see, and passing glances that the mirror graces me. And if people can change, well then so can I. My life is how I choose to spend my time. Count the footsteps till I reach my place. Rewind supercuts, either play button, realize a new one has begun. It was the first year learning, the first year knowing to grow is to fall, is to get back up. That mistakes will be made and cannot be undone, but the lessons that come make it worth the fall. It was the first year looking inside of myself, forgiving where I've been and finding self-respect for the boy born of love of his mom and his dad, for the man he'll become in the next year's time. First year
All right, Wildcats, hope you enjoyed a glimpse into your first year of college. It is just around the corner and it's super exciting. It's a fun time to be celebrating, but we've had some great questions come in. So Hannah and I are going to do our best to tackle those. We know also in the chat bar, our admissions team is also helping answer your questions. And I cannot stress enough that your admissions counselor wants to have that one-on-one conversation with you. So please schedule that appointment. We can do it virtually, we can do it in person. We just want to have conversations with you and help you feel at ease and confident about your plan, your family's plan to pay for college. So with that, one of the first questions has been, when do I make my first payment and how do I do it? So it's not that hard, but you can do it and not too far from now. So Hannah, when can they do that?
Yeah, so every student will get their first bill in June. And so you're able to walk through your Wildcat Pay portal, which is where your bill will live. And you can add your parent as an authorized user, log in, and start looking at what your bill is for the semester. Your first payment, it depends if you want to do a Wildcat payment plan or if you're wanting to pay in full. If you're doing a Wildcat payment plan, just make sure you're keeping up with those specific due dates for that 6-month payment plan or that 4-month payment plan. I'm sorry, 6 and 5-month payment plan. If you're wanting to do just a one-time payment, you will pay your bill in August on August 6th financial settlement date.
Great. And you can pay before August 6th.
True.
But you likely want to wait until you get that kind of full bill. And speaking of the award letters, someone asked, what will I expect my award letter to look like?
Yeah.
So do you mind walking through what the award letter will actually look like and how it'll break down?
Yes.
I think that'd be really helpful. We'll show one, I think, up here on the screen.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so if you're looking at your financial aid award letter, so the first thing that you're going to see is your grant and scholarship eligibility. So it's going to break down your merit-based scholarship. It's going to walk through any other additional ACU scholarships that you received, as well as any additional federal, state, or institutional gift aid that you've received. The next portion that you'll see is your total direct billed cost. So that'll have block tuition, student activity fee, and textbook fee. And then you'll see your estimated direct net cost. So that's just taking that total scholarships and grants, subtracting your total direct costs, giving you a net cost for the year. And then if you filed your FAFSA, you'll also see your your federal direct loan of $5,500 for the year. And then you'll see your estimated amount owed for the year.
Great. And just a reminder, you don't have to take that federal direct loan, but we do have to show you that you have the opportunity to take it, which is why we have it as a separate line item on that bill.
Yeah.
Another great question that came in is, does the meal plan cover all the meals? So having a freshman son and here at ACU who loves his meal plan, I will tell you that he has been able to pretty much eat most of his meals in the bean. He does the 5-day plan. You can do a 5 or 7-day plan as a residential student. He chose the 5-day plan. And what I love about it is he can start his 5 days on Sunday or he can start it on Monday. So it's at the start of the week, it starts over. So if they start Sunday, then they're going to be up for the weekend. If they start their plan on Monday or Tuesday, they could go into the next Saturday. It just depends on what they prefer. But it's a 5 or 7-day plan, and it does cover breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The other thing about ACU's meal plan that I think is fantastic is it's all-day access from the time the bean opens to the time it closes. So that means you can grab a snack on the way to class, you can grab an apple when you're headed to the library to study, or a bagel and a cup of coffee. So it really is a very affordable way to think about fueling your body, and it's good, nutritious, great food. Another question that came in is, when do students need to apply for those student loans if they are using that to cover a part of their balance?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that so many people and families ask. So when you are applying for additional loan options, you'll want to start that research now, but the application won't be until 90 days before school starts. So that's typically late May, early June is when you want to get those applications in.
Awesome, fantastic. And then when they apply for that student loan, do the funds go to the family or do the funds come to ACU if they are approved?
So if it is a federal loan or a state loan, that loan's going to come to ACU. Some private loan options are going to differ. It just depends on the option that you're applying for. Most of them, though, will be sent to the university. And so all you do is just apply for the loan options. We will let you know if there's any additional steps that need to be taken once you do that.
Fantastic. Great question. Another great question that came in is related to the cost of the dorms. Is the dorm the same cost as housing? So yes, when we're talking about housing, we're talking about the residence halls, the dorms on campus. And the other question was, are all the dorms the same price? No, they're actually not. So there are variable prices to the residence halls based on the amenities and based on some of the demand for those residence halls. So some of the halls are a little bit more expensive than others. So that's a factor to consider when you're thinking about how you're covering the cost of college and your total investment, similar to a 5 or a 7 day meal plan. A 5-day plan is a little bit less than a 7-day plan. So those are things to think about. And when you have that conversation with your financial aid counselor, which is your admissions counselor, they can walk you through the different costs very clearly and give you a very clear cost estimate that breaks that down for you. All right, another question came in about what if I have 529 saving plans? What do I do about that?
Yeah, so 529 or tuition saving plans are great options to help pay for school. And if you have one of those options, the first step would be contacting your specific tuition savings plan coordinator, figuring out exactly how those funds are going to be sent to ACU, and then contacting your admissions counselor. Your admissions counselor can there run the communication back and forth to make sure that that fund is sent to your student account.
Awesome, fantastic. Another question is, I have outside scholarships. How do I send those funds to pay on my bill? That's a great question.
Yeah.
You can mail them to the ACU address that's listed below. Your admissions counselor will also have that available for you as well. But you're sending them to ACU. You want to make sure that wherever they're coming from, that they've noted your student name and ID on either the check or the letter that that check is coming with, if that's how they're choosing to send the funds. There's nothing sadder than us to get a check from a wonderful foundation made out to ACU and without a student's name on it. We always track it down. Always, we will, but we want to make sure those funds get added to your account as quickly as possible upon their arrival. All right, another question is about VA benefits. If you are a student that is able to utilize your family's VA benefits, how does that work? What does that mean?
So we have an amazing Veterans Affairs office, 2 wonderful people who can process that information for you and make sure that they are connecting with your local VA office to make sure all the information is accurate. So the best way to get a hold of them and make sure that your VA benefits are being used is to contact them via email, and we'll pop that up on the screen as well, but it's vabenefits@acu.edu. Go ahead and email them, let them know that what options you have available and how you can use that at ACU.
Fantastic. That's great. Good stuff. Well, we think we've answered a majority of your questions. There's been a lot of one-off questions as well that our admissions counselors are answering in that chat bar as well. I can't stress enough, we're here to help you. We hope you'll schedule an appointment with one of us. Please know that this is one of the most important investments you're making in yourself and in your future. We believe in what happens on this campus, that it transforms lives. It transforms you spiritually and intellectually. And we also are very aware that it's a major decision and it's a major investment. And we want to be as helpful and transparent as we can about that process. So thanks for being with us today. Thank you, Hannah, for joining me.
So glad
and we can't wait to see you guys on campus. It's going to be an incredible freshman class. And we hope you all have a fun rest of your spring. Graduation is right ahead. Finish strong. You do have to walk across that stage, smile for your parents, and all the things. We can't wait to see you on campus. Go Wildcats.